So we are going to talk about the 3 pillars of secure attachment. The goal is to help you recognize what secure attachment is, so you are able to build a secure relationship with your children. So your kids grow up confident instead of carrying insecurities. A securely attached child experiences 3 things, and these are the 3 pillars that we are going to unravel today. A securely attached child is a child who feels safe. It's a child who feels seen. And it's a child who feels soothed. If you provide these 3 elements for your child, if your child feels safe, if your child feels seen, if your child feels soothed, then you are very likely providing secure attachment for your children. If you are providing it in a consistent basis, you are likely of providing secure attachment for your children. I'm so distracted by this precious baby that I see. Cute. And that's what we are going to unravel today, these 3 pillars of secure attachment. I wanted to start with this because there are a lot of myths on the internet about what secure attachment is and what it is not. There are a lot of myths, people who follow attachment parenting accounts who think or who teach even that secure attachment is baby wearing. It is not. I couldn't baby wear my twins. I mean, they were 2 big baby. I held them a lot, but secure attachment is not having your children glued to your hips 100% of the day. That's not secure attachment. Secure attachment is not a happy child who smiles all the time and who snuggles with you. That's not secure attachment. Secure attachment is not you being calm and collected and walking on clouds all the time. That's not secure attachment. Secure attachment is not a feeling, and secure attachment is not necessarily a thing that you do. It's not an act. It's not like, wearing your baby or having them close to you. Secure attachment is how safe or not safe children feel in a relation with their parents and how safe or unsafe they see the world. That's what secure attachment is. According to attachment theory, attachment develops in the first 3 years of life, and then you form something that's called an attachment style. So there are 2 attachment styles. Vamos al otro, porfis. Hey guys, one thing that I have to say to you, ladies, if you have something to say or if you have a question, don't wait till the end. Just open up your mics and bring it up, okay? Or if you want to correct me something, I can ask it. Like, I'm not a God. I might be saying the wrong thing. Correct me. Otro, porfis. Jesse. Let's start looking at the word safe. What is safe? What is safe to you? What is safe to you? Adriana, what is safe to you?
I was just thinking, I'm not sure what is safe to me.
Mm.
Yes, I'm not sure.
Have you ever felt safe, Adriana?
I'm not sure I have ever felt safe.
Oh, okay.
Yes, no, I don't know how it feels.
Hmm. Hmm. When you are parenting your children, How do you feel in
I
general?
f- I am always feeling some kind of insecure because I feel like I kind of parent like my mom parent me, so I don't
Okay.
really like that. And
Okay.
I feel like I'm afraid to do the same with my kids.
Okay. How did she parent you?
Oh, she was like always shouting and hitting and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. She was always angry and
Mm.
she was always like taking care of my brother because he needs special things and I was always by the side. I was never
Mm.
really important to her.
Mm. I relate to you. My brother has nonverbal autism and Down syndrome, and
Mm.
I relate to you about being the child who can do things. So I'm gonna leave you alone. Yeah.
Yes, 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 totally.
Mm, I hear you. Okay. Well, safety, Adriana. Safety. I'm going to explain it to you with an example. Let's just imagine, have you ever been on an island?
Well, no, but
No? Have you ever been on an island like in Hawaii
no, but I
or
wish.
Puerto Rico?
No, I have never.
Okay, okay. So just imagine you are in an island and this island is predictable. Predictable to protect you. You feel protected. Protected means that it's cozy, you have a shelter, and the shelter is stable, nothing is gonna fall on you. It's predictable to provide for you. Every time that you're hungry, the island provides for you. It provides food, it provides entertainment. Let's just say that on that island you have your preferred people. Who are your preferred people?
Well, of course, my kids,
Okay.
my cats,
Your
my
cats,
wife.
okay.
Yes.
Your wife, okay. So let's just say your kids, your cats, your wife is there, and then you guys are having a good time. You are talking to each other. You feel seen, and this island is always the same. It always gives the same thing. It always gives that protection. It always gives that provision. Is never unpredictable. There are no unpredictable landslides. There are no unpredictable volcano eruptions. There are not tsunamis that are coming to you. It's steady.
Okay.
If you were to picture Adriana being there and thinking like, hey, I'm gonna be here 3 more days, how would that feel to you?
I will feel really calm and at the same time happy. I mean, like peaceful. I was trying to say peaceful.
Peaceful. That's what safe feels like.
Okay. That is beautiful.
That's safety.
Okay.
So secure attachment, what provides that safety, what provides that happiness, that peace, that like, hey, I could be here all my life because I'm gonna be provided for and protected and seen. What provides that feeling of peace is something called predictability,
Okay.
consistency. Because
Consistency.
and that's the foundation of the safety of secure attachment, that consistent, that consistency, that predictability.
Okay.
So let's just imagine something that you are that island. You are that island providing consistent provision.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just imagine, I'm sure you provide consistent physical provision, the food, the
Yes.
housing. But not just that, consistent emotional provision. And let's just that you provide that protection. You're consistently providing that protection. And let's just say that you're steady, emotionally steady, physically steady. That peace, that happiness, that warmth, that like I can rely on you, that's secure attachment that you are
Okay.
providing for your kids. The glue of it is consistency and predictability. Because just imagine something. Imagine that this island is exactly as I described it, but this island has a history of getting really bad tsunamis.
Hmm.
How would you feel in that very cozy island who that sometimes provides that protection and provision, but some other times becomes scary because there are tsunamis? And they tell you you're gonna have to be here for the rest of the week. How would you feel?
Afraid,
Mhm.
insecure.
Yeah. But this is the thing, Adriana. You rely on that island to survive.
Okay.
You rely
Yes.
on it. You cannot survive outside the island. You don't have a boat to get in there. You don't have a there is not an airport that somebody's gonna come and take you to another island. No, you rely on that island to survive.
Yes.
So what would you do?
I don't know. I don't know. Um,
If you were to imagine, I cannot leave this island. I rely on this island to survive, but there is a tsunami that's coming or may come. I don't know when it's coming. It could be right now, it could be tomorrow, it could be in 3 days. What would you do?
I don't know. Try to be prepared for the tsunami.
Let's just imagine, like, let's just be creative. What would you do?
Okay, so I will try to have um some kind of uh live in the bottom of the ocean. I mean, like have a space, a secure space. So like try to build a secure space where the tsunami cannot hit me. I will try to do that.
Okay. That's the definition of insecure attachment.
Okay.
I seen it with my kids in foster care when they know that they cannot rely on that safe island all the time. They start figuring things out on their own a lot. They start figuring things out on their own. Let me give you an example that happened with my foster son. The first day he was in my care, he did not have secure attachment with me, obviously. And he came from insecure attachment. That's why he was in foster care. And the first week that he was in care with me, I went to the bathroom to clean his bathroom and I saw the sink towel. How do you call that? The little towel that you hang at the side of the sink. How do you call that?
Hand towel or a
The
washcloth?
hand towel, yes. I took the hand towel and it was covered with boogers. Boogers, it was a booger towel covered with boogers. And I'm like, oh, what means is this? What is this? And then I started looking around the bathroom and I noticed something. The tissue box was empty. So this is what secure attachment is. My foster son entered. He had boogers. He had a cold. He was looking for tissue. He noticed there was no more tissue. And because he has this history of, I cannot rely on my attachment figure. I have to figure things out on my own because when I ask for help, sometimes I don't get the help. He figured things out on his own. And if he had a towel covered with boogers, possibly he was figuring things out on his own for 2 days and not telling me.
Okay.
That's insecure attachment.
Okay. I understand.
Okay.
Yes.
So just to give you an example of it, it could be more things. It could manifest many other ways. But secure attachment, let me bring up to the topic. Secure attachment is me knowing that I can rely on a safe island to be provided for, to be protected. So
Okay.
just imagine a child with secure attachment would come and say, hey, the tissue box is empty. Duh, let me go ask my mom, where is the other box? Where is the other tissue box? That's what my twins would do.
Okay.
Right? Secure attachment is not having our children on our lap, is not having Velcro kids, is children who feel safe to come to us when they need it. So
Okay.
they go on and they explore. We are at the playground, they go on and they explore. But if something rocky or weird happens, they come and they run to their caregiver and they feel safe doing so.
Okay. Yes. I understand.
A child with secure attachment, it's more resilient. Why? Because they feel safer to explore scary things than other kids. Let me give you an example. Let's just say that you're at the beach. You are a little kid, 4 years old, and you're exploring the sea for the first time. And then a wave comes your way, and then you open your and you get really like you get scared of the wave, but as that wave's coming to you, you feel a firm adult hand holding. You are more likely to receive that wave, the wave, and end up enjoying the wave if you are alone.
Yes.
Or as if you know if that parent is gonna be there or not gonna be there. They are, sometimes they aren't. Let's just imagine that this wave is an emotional wave,
Okay.
meaning this wave is a big emotion. This child feels sad. This child feels frustrated. This puzzle that doesn't fit, and how come it doesn't fit and feels so frustrated, and this big wave of frustration comes to this child. That frustration, that emotion becomes really scary when the child doesn't know if they're going to be emotionally held, but by who can contain them. Sometimes I'm held, sometimes I'm not held. Sometimes that parent who is supposed to hold me yells at me and shames me for having this big frustration in my body. And
Yes,
some
for
other
feeling.
times, this parent holds me emotionally. It is using.
Yes.
So that's the foundation of secure attachment, the steadiness, feeling that
Okay.
I can explore, I can do things, and I can go back to my caregiver. When scary things happen, I could face them because I have someone to help me face them. That's why children with secure attachment are a lot more resilient because they're more willing to try things because they know someone has their back emotionally and physically as well.
Okay.
Is that clear, guys? Chelsea, well, Chelsea, of course, is a counselor, but Tatiana, Jacqueline, Monica. Okay. We are not raised to ask for help. That's why being here is also hard for us. We feel shame for asking for help because we were supposed to do it all. This was such a great example. We earned built to ask for help, but we were built to ask for help and instead figure out ourselves. I relate a lot to you, Adriana. Oh. Mariama, sending you hugs. You are amazing for choosing differently. This is not an easy process. You have a lot of people supporting you, Adriana. Otro porfis, Jesse. Before we move into the aspect of the second pillar, any question about or anything that you want to say about pillar one, which is safety?
I just say like I'm so glad that you answered the way you did because I was thinking like I I gotta make up something because I'm supposed to know what it feels like, and you said I don't know what it feels like. I was like that. I don't know. So I'm just glad you actually spoke your truth.
Yes, and when that happens, because it helps me guide you guys better. Yes. So,
I think I have a weird doubt. I
a
think
weird what? A weird what?
question.
Yes. Yeah, love
Uh,
weird questions. Go ahead.
I think I'm and insecure child. I don't know how to explain, but I was like thinking like in my relation and I think that I am always trying to make my wife be something like my safe point.
Tell me more. What do you mean?
Mm, I am always I think that because I am always home, I'm kids and she's the one to takes care of the money.
Yeah.
When she comes back, I always like trying to be cared by her. Like I need you to be my parent because I need to be of these two little guys, you know? So
Okay.
well, I don't know, I was like, listen and like really I relate to my relation with life. Like, okay, maybe I'm behaving like a little kid. Her, like, I need you to care me because no one cares about me, like in the
Mhm.
past.
I hear
Yeah.
you. Would you give me an example? I understand better.
Yes. Like, well, when she came back, like, well, I will make food. We will get some dinner, but I'm like, oh, babe, I need a hug. I need you to get me to bed. I need you to cover some kind of that, because, well, we're like, we have that routine. Is the sleeping time at 9. So it's sleeping. I cook my kids, and then I get to the bed and get my girl like, could you cover me So she's like, okay, take care of you.
What does she about that?
I don't know. I never asked her.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I have never realized that. I was just thinking while we were speaking.
Mm-hmm. There is nothing about that.
Okay.
We all have an attachment figure, even as an adults. All of us have attachment figures. It just changes. My attachment figure is not my mom anymore.
Okay.
My attachment figure right now is my husband.
Okay.
And we change our attachment figures. Um, it is a little different when we look to fill up voids. That's I'm not a marriage counselor, but I've heard marriage counselors saying that it could become a little toxic if we try to fill up voids from childhood with our partners. But there is nothing wrong with looking for that security and provision from our attachment figure. And right now, you have one, which is your wife, and it's helping you heal your
Yes.
inner child. I I imagine you feel safe with her.
Yes, a lot.
Yes, yeah, yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. And if she's
Okay.
okay with it, let her tuck you in.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, there is nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Before we move into the pillar of sin, there are four kinds of safety. I think I already said it here. There is physical safety, and that's the one that our boomer parents feel proud of. What do you mean you have depression? Don't you have a roof under your head and food on the table? Yes, I might be physically safe with you. Maybe not so much because you're yelling at me. But there are other kinds of safety that you're lacking. Number two, there is emotional safety. Emotional safety is feeling safe to express our feelings. I like you feel emotionally safe with her. I need a hug. I need you to tuck me in. All that is emotional safety. There is psychological safety, which is feeling free to be us, to be our authentic selves. A lot of people who are neurodivergent, they don't feel psychologically safe because they feel they can only be safe if they mask their life through. So that's psychological safety. Can I be me? Can I be me? Or am I changing my behavior, who I am, to accommodate to this relationship, to be with this person? That's not psychological safety. And the last kind of safety is relational safety, which is literally do I feel safe being with you? So those are the four kinds of safety. And the pillar of attachment of safety is providing consistent physical, emotional, psychological, and relational safety to our kids. The other pillar is a child who feels seen, someone who gets me, someone who understands me before I even say a word, someone who understands how I operate, who I am, someone who can see me. I experienced this kind of safety, which is a form of safety. This scene, I felt seen on the way back from Colombia, not from my abuelita. I felt the opposite with her. but from two flight attendants. We were flying back from Colombia to Houston. We were about to land, and then the captain received a message from the airport saying that the airport was closed. No planes were taking off, nor planes were landing. So we're starting doing loops on the air, loops around the airport. And then we were like an hour, no, 2 hours doing loops when the captain talked to us and say, "Hey guys, we ran out of gas." And I was like, "What?" We ran out of gas, but don't worry, everything is measured. We have enough to go to Austin. So we took a detour to Austin. We are going to be on Austin to get gas and then come back to try to land in Houston. I was starting to get a little agitated, but not too bad. But when really got bad was when we landed on Austin. And then the flight attendant said, because this is an international flight, we cannot open the doors. You guys we have to be in the plane for the time we're here. And we're going to be here the next 5 hours. In the plane, nobody could come out. Nobody could get out. Nobody could get in. All the doors are shut. I'm autistic. I don't like, I feel anxious when I feel claustrophobic. When the plane is on the air and it's flying, I'm okay. We're going somewhere. But when we're stuck in land, not moving, and nothing is happening, even thinking about that, I started playing with my rings. I feel anxious even thinking about that. So I had a meltdown. Guys, it lasted the whole 5 hours, my meltdown. But my meltdown wasn't like just like praying to God. Jesus. No, my meltdown was I was laying down in the middle of the aisle in the stinky, dirty cochino floor of a plane. I was laying down in the middle of the aisle crying. When I did that, the two flight attendants, they came in and then they said, "We're okay, we're safe. We're just refueling." They didn't know what was going on. I said, "It's not, I don't feel unsafe because we were going to crash or anything related to that. Is the sensory. I feel trapped. I'm having a panic attack." And then I told them I was autistic. The two flight attendants said, "Okay, you can have your panic attack with us." They didn't say calm down. They didn't say it's gonna be okay, stop crying or wipe your tears, go back to your chair. They said you can have your panic attack with us. And then they helped me get up from the floor and they took me to their cabin, to their little chair, their flight attendant chair. And they held my hands for the 5 hours, guys. They didn't let go of my hands. They took turns because they got tired. But they didn't let go of my hands the 5 hours. Never once they told me, "You gotta calm down, go to your chair. It's not a big deal. We're okay." They told me we're okay, but it was more, the message was more, "It's hard. I know it's hard. I know you feel trapped. You're safe. There is enough air." They tried to give me water. They gave me snacks. I wasn't even part of the first class crew, and they put me in first class for that time. We were stuck in Austin. And I felt seen. I felt like they got me and they got me what I needed. By the time we were ready to take off again, I was out of my meltdown. And I by myself, I told them I'm okay. I went to my chair and I was okay the rest of the flight. I was okay. So okay that I was just hanging out with my abuelita. That's feeling seen. Have you ever felt seen? Jacqueline, Tatiana. I don't want to pick on you anymore, Adriana. Have you ever felt seen, Chelsea?
Um, yeah, yeah, I have. I'll keep this brief because I tend to be a talker. But a couple of instances I felt really seen have been actually in therapy, receiving therapy, and um, sharing my experiences, sharing the pain, the hurt, the from a situation where I didn't feel heard and I didn't feel seen. Um, Zoom, leave me alone. Sorry. It's like confirm your speaking language. I'm like, go away. Um,
Mhm.
so talking about a situation where like I wasn't heard, I wasn't seen, I wasn't valued, my voice was squashed, I was, had no power, all those things, sharing that experience and having the person that I was speaking to believe me
Mhm.
and basically say like, yeah, that wasn't okay. Like your voice matters. And to just really sit with me in that experience and not invalidate it and not minimize it. But just to hold the space and to basically say, like, yeah, I believe you that that happened and that wasn't okay. Those have been very powerful moments for me to feel seen. Um,
Mm. Mhm.
and I've had similar kinds of experiences with people I'm not paying. Um, but but yeah, it's hard. I think we as people like can be very self focused, and it can be hard to really see somebody else.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it is really powerful when it happens.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Chelsea. Yeah, that is feeling seen. Jacqueline, have you ever felt seen?
I think for me, it was not seeing myself,
Mm.
right? When you're taught to not cry and hold it in and be seen but not heard, you sometimes don't even name your own emotions or see your own emotions, and you just keep pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down. So, to Chelsea's point, through therapy, I was able to see myself and give myself the grace and the patience that I would give a friend, and
Mhm.
like let myself have the meltdown, let
Mhm.
myself sit in the feelings and be there for myself versus like my self talk is shut up, get through this, stop crying. That's
Yeah.
how I'm talking to myself, right? Because I feel like I have a responsibility to put those feelings aside and then take care of
Mhm.
somebody else. So
Mm.
for me, it was learning to see myself again and give myself the time I need to actually regulate.
Mhm.
And I learned that from you that the
Mm.
regulation is not in the moment. It's a thermometer that's all day long. Where are you at when you wake up? Where are you at when you go to sleep? And how are you going to give back to yourself so you're not living in the red? So I think that's something that this course really helped me see
Mm.
because I thought it was about getting out of being dysregulated in the moment.
No.
It's definitely not that. So
Oh, yeah, that's feeling seen. So that's the second pillar of secure attachment. Children feel seen when we get them out of their emotions, but when we're with them through whatever thing they're feeling, as long as they're feeling it, even if it lasts 5 hours, like my meltdown. Yeah, it could get exhausting for the caregiver. Those flight attendants were taking turns. But that's what feeling seen is. Otro, porfis. And then the third pillar of secure attachment is a child who feels soothed. Soothed. And there are myths and misconceptions in social media about soothing or co-regulating or calming our children down. There are myths. Myth number one, my job is to calm my child down. That's not our job. What did the flight attendants told me? You can be with us while you're having your panic attack. You can be with me while you're having your panic attack. That's being emotionally available for me. That's being soothed. While I'm having the panic attack, they were not trying to calm me down. They were just holding my hand, reassuring me of my safety. And they did offer water and crackers. At some point, we were playing mind games to get me out of the survival brain, to connect my left and right. They were very attuned with my cues. Sometimes I let go of their hand and they did it right away. They're like, okay, she doesn't want it. And then I went back to holding their hand and then they received it. And then I went back to, no, this feels too much. There was one time that one of them wanted to hold my hand to relate, to kind of like take turns with the other. And I said, but your hand is cold. His hand is warm. They kind of laugh. And then the other one said, are you still okay? And he said, yeah, I'm still okay. I'm like, thank you. I'm sorry. Your hand is cold. I prefer the warm hand. So that's being emotionally available. Myth number 1, you need to calm your child down. That brings so much anxiety and feelings of inadequacy for parents, that myth. And they come to coaching like, I try to offer hugs and they don't receive my hugs. They don't calm down with me. What am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. It's what you think you should do. You think you should be the one calming them down. Like, you just should be there. Show up. Soothing is not stopping bad emotions. Let me wipe your tears. You're okay. Take a deep breath. It's not a big deal. A little smile for mommy. Or even the worst like what we got told growing up, Latino. Las niñas feas, las niñas que lloran se ven feas. How do you say that in English? Good girls don't cry. Good boys don't cry. Las niñas que
Girls
lloran
who
se ven
cry
feas.
are ugly. Girls who cry are ugly.
Ugly, yes.
Yes.
The girls who cry are ugly. Las niñas que lloran se ven feas. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Soothing our children is basically 4 things. It's being available for them. And available does not necessarily mean by their side, right there, on their face. My twins are 9 years old, and by now, sometimes they're like, I need to be alone. Okay, be alone, but they know I'm available. So to be available. Number 2, to be an observer, to see their cues. Some people on the internet say, like, be playful when they are upset, be playful and engage them, maybe get the giggles going. Depends. Some children receive that well, some children don't. So follow, like, as you are there with them, follow their lead. So emotional availability, observation, right? Number 3, modeling. Okay? The flight attendants did that well. They were modeling deep breathing for me. They were modeling calmness. They were modeling soft talk, talking soft because I was yelling. They were modeling all those good things. Modeling. That's the 3rd. And I think I forgot the 4th. I forgot the 4th. Oh my gosh. How come I forgot the 4th? I put it on a post 2 days ago. Yeah, the 4 pillars of co-regulation. Oh, yeah. And the 4th is reassurance. Reassurance of safety. Reassurance of you're safe. You're going to be okay. I know it feels uncomfortable, but you're safe. So let me write them down in the chat, the 4 pillars of co-regulation. Availabilities. How do you say that?
Availability.
Yeah,
Okay.
availability.
If I
Availability.
wrote it wrong, I'm sorry. Available. Okay, being available. Number 2, what did I say? Modeling. Number 3,
Observant.
observation. And number 4, reassurance. If you're doing those 4 things, you are soothing your children properly. Availability, modeling, observation, reassurance. None of that is calming them down. It's just doing those things and their nervous system will calm down when it will. So we're done. I think we have a quiz. Jessica, vamos al quiz. Okay, so we're gonna do a Leo quiz, and this quiz you are going to discover your strengths. I wanted to focus it on strengths because a lot of us focus on what we don't have yet, on our things that we need to improve. Let's focus on our strengths. You are going to discover your strengths in building secure attachment with your child. Okay? On the light of these 3 pillars. Safe, seen, and soothe. Okay, let's start. Otro porfis. So for each question, you're going to choose or maybe write in a Leo notebook or on the chat, the one that sounds more like you. Number 1, when my child is upset, I usually A, stay calm and help them feel safe until they settle. B, watch their face and body to understand what they need. C, hug them or speak gently so they feel comforted. Let me know once you have your answer. Got it? Otro porfis. Joanna, it makes the word amor, which means love. Yes. Where that? Okay. Yes. Wow, that's incredible. I just realized that. The 4 pillars or the 4 elements of co-regulation. The first letter is A-M-O-R, and that is amor, which is love in Spanish. That's so amazing. First time I realized that. Okay. When my child misbehaves, I try to A, show them they're still safe with me, even if I'm setting a limit. B, ask myself what's really going on underneath the behavior. C, get down to their levels, speak softly, and offer a comforting tone. Which one sounds more like you? Okay, otro porfis. My child knows they are loved because A, I create routines and a calm space so they don't feel scared or confused. B, I really listen and make space for their thoughts and feelings. And C, I hold them, soothe them, and help them feel better when things go wrong. Otro. When I think about how I want my child to feel growing up, I picture them feeling A, safe and protected no matter what. B, fully understood and accepted. And C, loved and comforted through hard moments. What is you? ¿Tenemos otro? Okay. In tough moments, my strength is A, staying steady and making my child feel secure. B, reading between the lines and noticing what my child truly needs. C, soothing emotions and offering comfort even when things are messy. Otro. Now is the results. Mostly A's. Your strength is the safe pillar of secure attachment. Making your child feel safe creating routines, staying calm in chaos, and help your child know they are protected no matter what. Your steadiness is the anchor they need. If mostly B's, your strength is seen, making your child feel seen. You notice the little things others might miss. Your child feels known and accepted for who they are. This builds trust. And mostly C's, your strength is soothe, making your child feel soothed. Your superpower is emotional connection. You help your child calm down and feel loved, even during meltdowns. Guys, what is your secure attachment strength?
I struggled. I put like B and C for like some of like it was fairly similar. So I might need to like sit down with the and be a little bit more introspective about what mine actually are. But
How to raise a secure child from anxious to secure attachment. So, if you have a child that is particularly clingy, if you have a child that um, is worried about leaving you, who is, um, I'm trying to think of some of the other behaviors. Maybe they have a lot of anxiety about trying something new. Any of that can fall into that anxious attachment category. And so the beauty of it is that we can heal anxious attachment and we can create that secure attachment for our children. And often anxious attachment is passed down from generation to generation, um, partly because of the habitual ways we show up. We are most likely to show up like our parents did. And so if we experienced anxious attachment, then our kids are likely to experience that because we will unknowingly, except you're going through this course, right? But typically we unknowingly show up that way just because we're not aware. Even if we know what it is, we may not have that self-reflection, that mirror that a coach provides for when we're actually showing up that way with our kids. And so this brings our attention to it and raises that awareness so that our children can have a more secure attachment than what we grew up with. You can go ahead and go to the next slide, Anna. So really the focus of this week, our goal is to help your child feel safe, seen, and soothed. Um, because that is secure attachment. We come back over and over and over to secure attachment is holding the space for our kids so they can show up with their emotional response, so they can learn to process their emotions, so they can learn to identify their needs and advocate for their needs. And we learn to hold this space of secure attachment, and our kids learn secure attachment through us continually showing up in this space consistently. So anxious attachment really comes from inconsistency. So one minute we're, lovey-dovey with our child, and then let's say we get overwhelmed with work or something like that, and then our child is asking us, and we're like, "Oh, sorry, I'll help you, I'll help you, I'll help you," and we're on our phone or whatever. And then we completely forget that they even had a request. And so at those times, they don't feel seen, heard, understood, right? Or another example would be with an infant, maybe one minute, they're crying and we're feeling calm and curious and we can kind of explore. And it's okay if we don't get it right the first 5 times. Oh, do you need a bottle? Do you need to play? Do you need a fresh diaper? We just keep trying, right? Until we figure it out. And that's normal. That's part of learning the child that you're parenting. But in anxious attachment, we're coming in and maybe we'll show up that way one time, and then the next time we're really distracted with, oh, my friend didn't call me back and I'm really worried about, and it's like, just stop crying. I can't stand your crying. You got to stop crying. I can't. And so they pick up on our nervous system energy, and that creates the anxiety in them. They're like, oh, what do I need to do? So because children are very much, they're going to turn around and and take the blame, for lack of better words. They're going to turn the perspective inside to what can I do so that things can be safe and good between me and my parent, because my parent is the link to all the resources in the world. My parent is my survival lifeline. Any questions coming up so far? Any concerns? Yeah,
I guess
Chelsea.
the question I have is like, man alive, like I how consistent do you have to be? Because we're imperfect, right? Like
Yeah.
perfectionism is a serious struggle of mine. And so I hear this and I'm like, well, crap, I'm like not consistent perfectly, certainly. And like there are areas where like I do have really hard time, and I know that like my nervous system, like I know I'm dysregulated, and I'm very aware that he is feeling all of that. And so like for those of us who might be starting to like shame spiral and panic, like, oh gosh, I've ruined my child. Like I know I have insecure attachment because of things I experienced. I know my mother also has insecure attachment. It's like, or like anxious attachment. How do I prevent this from happening for my kid when I'm not going to perfectly show up?
Yeah. Chelsea, I just love having you here.
I'm glad.
Perfect timing in your question. Anna, you can go to the next slide. Um, oh, well, we talked a little bit about this. I think it's the very next slide, Chelsea, that's going to answer your question. So I'll go through this one real quick. So what you see often with a kiddo is, they cling and then they'll push you away, or they have this really big reaction because they're so excited for you to be there, or even they ask for help, but then they reject help. So there's kind of this ambivalence of, yeah, I want you, but I'm also scared of you, right? You can go to the next slide. There we go. So this is what Chelsea was talking about. How consistent do we need to be? So the ideal is 70%. And there's even been a study with infants, so in the very first year of life, that says 50%. So the more the better, right? And we're making a deposit. No matter how much we show up with this soft, soothing, spacious nervous system, it's going to make a deposit towards our children's secure attachment and towards them creating secure attachment with the next generation. So it's never a place that we can go wrong, because there's always, okay, I didn't show up in this moment. And there's two pieces that are a gift from that. One is we have the gift of repair when we don't show up. So when we don't show up, if we're repairing on a regular basis, that counts as showing up. So you don't have to go into it with this ideal perfect, because actually kids won't gain resiliency if we are perfect. They won't gain this reality that of what humanity is, right? It's really important for us to be authentic and be imperfect, and then to repair. That is where our kids learn resilience. That is where our kids um, learn that we are really, really there for them. Sometimes the repair is even more powerful than showing up as the calm parent to begin with. There's this beautiful, I don't know if I've mentioned it before in this group, but this beautiful art form in Japan where if there's a vase that's broken, they repair it with gold. And that's because they really see the gift and the beauty in what becomes. They say it's even stronger, right, of what becomes with repair. So the consistency anchors what our children need from us. They need safe. That means a steady tone. It means our nervous system being in ventral vagal. It means that we're holding warmth, that we're being patient. So impatience is teaching them about the anxiety, right? So we're really leaning into our own nervous system of safety and communicating that safety to them. They need to feel seen. So that means that we're checking in. What's going on for them right now? We're validating their experience. So by validating their experience, that means we don't have to agree with their perspective. Let's say they just lost a friend. A lot of times as an adult with lots of experience, we'll come and be like, oh, it's okay. You're going to have so many friends in your life. That invalidates their experience. So if we can come in and validate their experience so they feel seen, what's their experience in that moment, right? And then soothed. And that means we're just there holding them. We're holding them with our energy. And sometimes that means we're physically holding them, or we're touching them, or we're rocking them. It really depends on the child. How is that sitting for you? Oh yeah, thank you for the art form. Kintsugi, is that right? Kintsugi? Awesome. Anything coming up for anybody that you want to share before we move on to the next slide?
That piece of patience is like, oof, that one hit hard. Because like even I thought about like this morning when I was thinking about how I wanted to get to the grocery store and I had to get gas and get the stuff in the car and all this things. So I want to be back for this call at 11. And so then like he's unaware of all these thoughts that I have. And then I'm ready and I'm like feeling rushed to get him ready. And just realizing that, impatience. I mean, I also feel anxious if I'm feeling that like that kind of urge, that rush. And so thinking to myself as I look ahead, I'm like, what does it look like? What will it take for me to settle into more patience and calm so as not to communicate that anxiety and to kind of pass that on to him? So I really appreciated that idea that impatience teaches them anxiety. I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, yeah, I learned that from my mom. So it makes sense. But yeah. And then the idea that this is helpful for those of us recovering perfectionists, that I'll speak for myself, that repair is in some ways, okay, it's not better than showing up right the first time, but that there's a lot of value in it, and that helps teach our child resiliency and like what to do when you're not perfect. Because if all our kids see is the glittering gold version, the Instagram version, then like they're not going to know how to deal with their own failures. And so I don't know. I was really helpful. Thank you, Holly. Appreciate you answering my question.
Oh, thanks, Chelsea. And I love what you were saying about perfectionism because there is actually no perfect way to show up. Um, that's the thing about perfectionism is that's all based on some imagined ideal that actually can't really exist in real life because of reality. Because reality does not let ideals exist like that. It just doesn't happen. So it's always going to be somewhat imperfect. And so we can always have that gift of, okay, and I'm going to choose in this moment to savor this moment, to enjoy aspects of this moment, to pick out gratitude in this moment, or to pick a learning that I brought from this moment. So just a little reframe because there just isn't a perfect way to show up. Even this, like, if we showed up in the ideal way, then our kids would have no resilience. So we can't win. All right, let's go to the next slide.
Oh, Holly, Mariama, I think she wants to chime in
Oh,
with a
yeah.
question.
Sorry, Mariama, I didn't see
course.
your hand. Thank you so much, Anna. Yes, Mariama.
Hi, yes. So I wanted to add to what she said, but also something else I wanted to talk about. So I used to get really anxious in the morning. This was like months ago. But when I was able to figure out where it was coming from, I was able to slow down. And obviously, like she mentioned something about from her mom, it was the same thing with me. I remember being a kid and going out of the house was a big hassle because I was undiagnosed with ADHD and autism. So was my mom. So it was a lot of chaos trying to get out of the house. She would run after us, yell at us, try to beat us up, curse us out. Like it was just such a chaotic mess. So every time like we were, even though I knew we weren't running late, me and my kids, I did not want to be late. So that anxiety, I carried it for so long until I could figure out what was going on. And now I'm able to slow down. Like even to the point where sometimes I'm like, listen, I would rather be late than cause my kid like trauma because it's just um I'm just thinking about how my child is gonna feel. I obviously like most of the time I'm able to make it on time. Like probably maybe 2% of the time I'll probably be late. But slowing down is so important because I still wake up super duper early and I do all these things to make sure that I'm not causing anxiety. But my son, he has pathological demand avoidance on top of his autism and all of that stuff. So it does make things challenging. So sometimes I have to pause when he does something and I gather myself before I react, or even sometimes a lot of times. But on Sunday, he did something like he was playing with the light switch, and I was telling him not to do that, and he kept doing it. And I forgot, obviously, that's something that sometimes kids with autism will do to kind of like stim and stuff. So in that moment, I had so much going on, so I could not really give him as much attention as I needed to. But his pathological demand avoidance kicked in like bad. When I was telling him to stop, he was blatantly telling me no. And it was just so much and so overwhelming. I got to a point where it didn't bother me as much as when he started to give his aunt a hard time. And she was trying to set a boundary and he wasn't listening. And that I think that's the most triggering thing for me. I don't really mind when he does things to me. I can set my boundaries with him, but then when other people are trying to set a boundary with him and he's not listening to them, it triggers something in me. So I ended up getting to a point where I yelled at him. But then I told him to come sit down. I was like, come sit down right here, like next to me. And he was crying. So when I turned around and looked at him and I saw him crying, something in me, my heart broke so bad. I couldn't figure out what it was in the moment. And I just told him to come sit next to me. And he sat on my lap and he was crying. And I let him, do all of that. I helped him calm down. And then I apologized for yelling at him and all of that stuff. But then later on after I went to bed, I was crying myself to sleep and I figured out why. It was because when I was younger, I didn't have someone to comfort me when I was crying, and I would have to cry by myself. So, like a lot of times, I'm able to figure out where things like came from because I've done like a lot of healing over the years. But childhood trauma will definitely affect your relationship with your child unless you do the work outside of trying to figure out what to do with your child. Like you have to work on yourself too. Because if you're not able to do that, like you can have all these lessons to do all these things, but it's going to be hard for you to stop if you're not able to figure out what is going on with you and even like where this probably could have came from. But I just wanted to share that because even though it was hard for me, I still did the repair. And I think it was necessary for me to cry because it was something I needed to release at that time.
Oh, Mariama, thank you so much for sharing. I'm just hearing how important and how deeply it has touched you to make that connection of how your childhood is showing up, like that nervous system response kind of time travels to the present, and how you're showing up with your kid and how that affected you in the moment, and then making that realization, putting those two things together, making sense of it, really had a huge impact on your compassion, both for yourself and for him. And that holding that space for him is healing for both of you. Am I getting that right?
Yes, you are right because my son is more of like me. I mean, I would say he's almost an exact replica of
Yeah.
me compared to my daughter. So I do find things a bit challenging a lot of times, but then I remind myself that I'm giving him something that I didn't have. There's a beauty in giving him what I didn't have, but also there's a grief, like, that grief of not having those things. And I give myself space for that, to feel those emotions and process it. But it'll never stop me from giving my children what I didn't have because I want them to grow up in an environment where they feel safe and they feel loved and they feel seen and they feel heard. So I am constantly working on myself, constantly watching whatever I do. I mean, obviously, I know part of that is like, like hypervigilance or whatever, but like, I just, it's so important to me that I'm a great mom to my children. Like, that is the most important thing to me in this world.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. Give us a moment to take that in. And I see so many people in the chat just in alignment with you, that having like experiences and feeling that triggered with their kids when they're not doing what we've asked of them to do. And so in alignment with you, I'm guessing of wanting something so different for your kids than what you had. And me too. I want to put myself in that boat too. I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. My first kiddo, before I went through and did all of this work myself and received coaching, he had a severe anxiety problem, that was interfering with daily, just trying to get to school. He would wake up and vomit for 2 hours every morning, and it was very, very difficult for our family. So I can relate to all of this, and just sharing that personal experience, so you know that yes, me too. I've also struggled with feeling that trigger, and also managing my own anxiety while trying to show up in that loving space of holding space for our children. All right, let's go to the next slide. So again, the SPC is all about providing child-centric tools. So here's a few tools that you can use with your child when they're showing some of those behaviors, that you identify as stemming from this anxious attachment. One is helping them to have a self reset. So that can involve, like, a lot of times they'll have a lot of energy coming at us. It can look like hitting, kicking, screaming. So working with them to develop the habit of of targeting that energy into a physical behavior. And so wall push-ups is a great one, or one that my kiddo really enjoyed was walking on his hands. So doing, what do you call that? The wheelbarrow, where I hold his feet and he's walking on his hands. So it's like this pressure in the arms. And it's a great way for kids to be able to process some of that energy. For some kids, taking a sip of water, or maybe both, they do something a little more physical and then take a sip of water. And then a breathing technique that works for us or our kids is to really focus on the exhale. So one of those exercises for children is to blow out birthday candles. So you can hold up your hand and just have them blow out the candles. So 1, 2, 3, and it really gets them to focus on that exhale. And then as parents, we can also show up in ways that demonstrate that secure attachment. So again, validating. What is their experience? You weren't sure I'd come back, and I'm here now. I want you to know I'll always be here for you. Creating routines with some choice for them. So really within the routines, right? So the routine itself communicates secure attachment. Kids really thrive on, and by routine, I don't mean a schedule that this happens at 7 o'clock, this happens at 7:15, and at 7:30 we go into bed. So that's a rigid schedule. A routine, rather than being a rigid schedule that's time-based, it's an order of events. So a bedtime routine might be that we brush teeth, we change into jammies, we have cuddles and books, we sing a song, and we do some snuggles for bed, right? So that would be the routine. The time may shift. We may be out a little later one night, or we may have an earlier dinner and know that we have something going on. We want to do it a little earlier, or maybe grandma calls in the middle and interrupts the routine, right? So it's more having the order of events, and then creating some micro choices within those events can give the child a sense of agency and power in their world. And again, when they have that sense of agency, when they have that sense of, oh, I have some power too, then they feel safer, right? Because things aren't being done to them. They're really being seen as a whole person that has opinions, that has needs, that has things that they want to do. So maybe we're asking them, okay, you're in the bathtub. Do you want to play with the bath crayons? We had these crayons that you could write on the bathtub. Do you want to play with those, or do you want to play with the letters? Or do you want to play with a pouring thing? Like giving them some choice. Or do you want to wear these PJs or these PJs? And giving them as many choices as possible as you go along. At the same time, not to the extent that it overrides the routine, right? So we're keeping those choices simple. The younger the child, the less choice you give. So you give like the choice of 2 books rather than 5 books. Maybe by the time they're 3, 4, 5, they might want to choose out of 5 books. Choose 2 books out of these 5. But at a very young age, it's like, okay, point to which book you want. And they may not choose one. And then we just help them. We just say, okay, I'm going to choose this one, right? But giving them the opportunity to choose can really be empowering and help them feel secure. And then having a re-entry ritual. And I really, really love this. So the re-entry ritual, again, we're really leaning into routine and ritual. Those are things that create secure attachment. It's creating rhythm in the day. Rhythm and patterns create secure attachment. And you might also, it might sound familiar if you have a background that's ADHD or autism, because rhythm and routines often are what people who experience neurodiversity thrive on. They're really looking for these routines and rituals. It helps them feel secure in their day too. So as an adult, this can also be helpful. So the reentry ritual is that after any separation, so a separation would be considered the nighttime. So when you first see your child in the morning, or a separation could be, let's say your child goes to school and it's when you first see them after school. Or maybe you go to work, it's when you first see them after that. Or maybe it's even that you left them at grandma's for an hour and that you're coming back. So anytime you're coming back, that you have these 3 simple sentences. So the first one is you notice something about them. So that goes back to the validation. So it might be speaking to their experience. Hey, you were a little worried that I was leaving, and now I'm back. I'm here with you, and you look like you're feeling happy. So you're just noticing where they are. Maybe they didn't acknowledge you as much, and you're like, hey, I'm back now. I see that you're playing with a train. You look really happy, or, so it's just getting into their world a little bit. And then the feeling, and I kind of combined those two. So you notice what they're doing and you name a feeling. I'm feeling, you can lead with your feelings. I'm so happy to be back with you. And maybe they're upset. You look a little upset. So this is practice, right? We're not saying these words in the hopes that it's not like, what are you feeling? We're not interrogating them about their feelings. It's more that we're throwing out some words that might describe their experience. Maybe we're even making some guesses, but we're really staying in that space of openness about what their experience might be and just putting that vocabulary out there so that it might catch at some point. It's kind of like fishing. When you fish, you just keep throwing that hook in, hoping that at some point it catches a fish. So we're just throwing these vocabulary words out, these feelings words out. And at some point, we hope that that catches on and that they'll say, hey, Mom, I'm really upset. I need your help. That they'll actually use those words. So we're not really looking for them to respond in a particular way to this reentry ritual. It's more that we're just creating space. And so the last part of that reentry ritual is sharing what happens next, right? So next is we're going to have some breakfast and then we're going to get dressed and ready for school. Or next we're going to have some breakfast, we're going to feed the dog, and then we're going to go for a little walk. So just giving them 2 or 3 things. Again, the younger the child, the less executive functioning they have. So we don't want to overwhelm them telling them the entire day's plan, but just kind of what's coming next. Hey, we're going to have a snack, and then we're going to sit together and you can tell me more about your day. How is this sitting for everybody? Anything coming up? Any questions?
I'm just going to affirm that I think it makes a lot of sense. And when I think about the different aspects of anxiety, which is like lack of control, lack of predictability, lack of knowledge, like this addresses at least 2 of those 3 things really explicitly, right? Like it gives them a knowledge of like what has happened, what's going to happen, and then if this is something that's done regularly, there's a predictability to that that will enhance that feeling of security and safety. So I think it's really cool. I'm like, I want to start like doing this more intentionally. There are aspects of it that I sort of do naturally. Like if I come back from something, I'm like, and so we have that kind of dynamic. But being a little bit more explicit, I imagine could be really helpful for him to be able to think, even though he's only 2.5, think ahead to like, okay, mommy's going to an appointment and then she's going to come back and we're going to get ready for bed together. and we're going to snuggle, whatever it is. But just to maybe reduce some of that uncertainty and the anxiety that can disrupt some of the other routines when there's not that level of awareness for awareness for him, like knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, I love that you voiced that. And it really brought to mind two pieces that I'll share. One is that as we're validating their experiences and even saying what's coming next, we're helping them form the way their brain thinks. So when we validate their experience, they learn to not take things personally, but they can then have self-compassion. So instead of self-blame or blaming somebody else, it's like, hey, I see you and you look upset. And we're there for them, right? And so they're like, oh, so the voice in their head going forward is, oh, it's safe for me to be upset. Mom's going to be there in safety when I'm upset, right? So they're forming, like, the words we use are the story that they will tell themselves going forward. And then likewise with creating the predictability around, hey, these are the next few things that are going to happen, and then they happen. That's how we develop executive functioning skills. So the more that we're repeating that, like if you think of how many opportunities we have to repeat that, I don't know, there's 365 days a year. Let's say we do it at least twice a day for most of the year. That's like 600 opportunities just in 1 year of life that we can be helping kids to learn executive functioning skills of, hey, I'm thinking about what's coming next. I understand events come in an order and then they happen in that order, and putting that sequencing together. So it makes deposits in a lot of different ways. Anna, is there one more slide?
Hi. I just want to say that I'm really glad to see this because I think that it can even works with my wife. That she I don't know if she's autistic. I feel that she is, but talking about the plan, talking about the feelings, I think that that could really help like the whole family.
Yes, I appreciate you naming that. Absolutely. There's so much to be said for that communication. In my family, we have a shared calendar, but it's when we verbally talk about those things. My husband and I will often connect, at least at one point during the week, if not in the morning, and say, hey, this is what's happening during the day. It just kind of solidifies it in my mind for sure. Okay, we are on the same page. We have a shared reality going forward. It also creates an opportunity for us to be like, oh, I had a different understanding. And then there's safety because it's not like we have that misunderstanding in the moment and we're freaking out about it. It's up front. Oh, there's a disconnect about something that's happening in the day. And now we're already in ventral vagal and we can address it together. So I love that you bring up that can also help in our relationships. So 3 steps to take you into your week. One is to track one day. So you could break the day down into, morning, like before, like maybe get up, the time before you get up, right before school, after school or after work, after dinner and bedtime. So I like to chunk it so that it's not just like this whole day was a green check mark. It's like this particular transition was either a green check mark or an X. It didn't go so well. Like I flipped and I was in my impatient mode. So just tracking it, and it's not for right or wrong. We're tracking it purely for learning and growth, for awareness and observation. So if the red check mark feels like too much, that doesn't feel good to my nervous system, maybe say, okay, it's a green check mark when I was steady, and it's the smacking my head icon when I flip my lid. So whatever works for you, but just track one day and notice where you're creating that safety and security for your child, and when things feel impatient or when you flip. And then the goal is that the next day that you can practice a quick self reset at the time when you flip the day before. Because a lot of times these things come in patterns. I hear for a lot of parents that, particularly that shift from being away from their child at work and then being with their child either after school or maybe they have childcare of some sort, that's a very difficult transition because their mind is often either still at work or fast forwarding to dinner and how are we going to do bedtime and all of this other stuff. So you can take a moment to use that quick self reset. Maybe you do some wall push-ups, take a drink of water, do some breathing exercises, and even use a validating phrase for yourself. Or, you really lean into that routine for your child so that you can set that stage for your child in that moment intentionally. And then the third piece to take into your week is to build a daily island time ritual. So that's 10 minutes of undistracted play or chat. Especially with older kids, chat can be play. But the key is your phone is out of the room, the ringer is turned off, and you don't have an agenda. You set a timer for 10 minutes and you're solely there with your child. So you're able to show up, and you may need to, again, go through a reset before you show up in this space. But the goal is that you show up and you can be present with the child that's in front of you. You can follow their lead and get curious about what's going on in their world. So this is really a time to lean into curiosity, and maybe they start doing something that's normally not allowed in your house, and we're really showing up during this time with intention around that, because we can be solely focused on our child. It's like, okay, well, maybe they usually aren't allowed to touch something, but maybe we allow them during that time because we're right there to help them with it. Okay, I usually don't want you to touch that, but right now we can do a one finger touch and I'll be here to help you with it. So you're really looking at how to say yes during this time. So because an island time that has a lot of no's in it isn't going to be as calm and effective as, hey, let's look for the yes. How can I turn this into a yes time with my kiddo? And Anna, I think that's the end of the slides. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So yeah, I want to open it up to any questions and then we'll go into, oh, Tatiana joined us. Thanks for being here, Tatiana. Good to see you. So yeah, you could say hello.
Thank you. I'm so sorry I'm late, but yes, I'm so glad to be here.
Yay. So we'll go into any questions and then we have time for a little bit of coaching.